What's up, guys? Thursday, climbing day. New wall went up. Had some pretty decent climbs in it. So really right now the challenge at the gym is going to be working on several V3s in which I can do, there's one I could probably do about 90% of the moves. There's a couple I can barely even start. So just target it in there and really working on those to progress and improve in some of the strength that I need. Really, there's probably some technique I'm missing, or I'm really trying to probably use too much grip when really I gotta be weighting my feet better, and probably incorporating some more flags, probably back flags really, which is not something I naturally think about. Which, for those of you guys don't know, really it's just a lot about balance, right? And transitioning and holding your weight in your legs way more than your arms. I think people think you need a lot of arm strength. I went into climbing with a fair amount of arm strength, and I probably have improved it since then, and I really dropped some weight recently, so that definitely helps from a pull perspective. But if you're going and you're gonna just start climbing, definitely think about it as climbing the stairs versus climbing a rope. It is definitely not climbing a rope, or shouldn't be. You're just gonna toast yourself. So think about using your feet as much as you can, and really stepping up and using the power of your legs, the most powerful. You walk every day, you climb stairs probably every day. You need to use that if you go climbing. That is where you're going to get a lot of power. A lot of those initial climbs are going to challenge your ability to use your feet, weight your feet, balance on your feet, and mostly just do that. There will be other challenges. So that's the other thing. They're boulder problems, right? So when you go and you do a boulder problem, really the idea should be, if you fall or if you fail, you should think about what it was that happened and what action you might be able to take, or what you can try differently that's going to help you do it. That is a super big tip from my point of view. It's like, okay, I'm struggling here. And even today, I probably should do that more often with some of the climbs that I'm failing on, is really analyze what's happening, what am I struggling with, and how can I get through it. Another tip that I would give relative to climbing is to, sometimes it's thinking you can't do something that you absolutely can. It might be pushing your threshold, or it might be at the very edge of your threshold, but that's the hard move. And working your way through that, working your way up to that point and working your way through it, and just repeatedly doing some reps on that particular part of the climb is going to be super helpful. Where in maybe a session, maybe 3 sessions, maybe 4 sessions, maybe 2 weeks, you'll come back and the move will just be easy. At some point you'll break through this threshold and you'll get there. Sometimes it may not be easy that first time you solve it. The first time you solve it, the first time you do make the move, it might not be easy, but at that point you'll have broken through the barrier that you had, and oftentimes you can still do the climbs. I think I am facing this issue of strength and peak strength, really due to probably my nutrition being a challenge, and I may want to start looking at incorporating some more carbs on climbing days, like maybe a banana earlier in the day, or maybe on the way home, eating a banana, getting some potassium, getting some carbs into me, so that way my muscles have a little bit more food and energy to go into the climbs. I do have some goo that I bought, really an energy gel for Spartan races. I'll probably take that in the upcoming race, and I may want to investigate using that just for climbing. I think that's a pretty expensive option versus just buying a bundle of bananas for like $2. So I think bananas is probably going to be the way to go. From a philosophy standpoint or a thought process standpoint, I think the thing that I would like to discuss today is to do things, to find your reason for doing things, I guess. Like, the way that I think about it is to do it for you, right? I think that it's natural to probably do things for validation, or do things for, I think validation is probably the best summary, right? doing it because you think you should, or doing it because your parents will like it, or doing it because you think your friends will think you're cool, or all these different things, right? Versus like you have an interest, I think you should go for it. And you should see if you like it. And if you like it, do more of it and really push it. I think that a lot of times we can forget to enjoy the things that we do, and we could do them for the wrong reasons. And sometimes we'll never do stuff that we want to do for the wrong reasons. Like we'll let stuff prevent us that we never should. And so I think it's important to find your reason why you want to do stuff. And if you're interested in something, go try it. Just go do it. A lot of the things that I would say people are afraid of to go do, in my experience, out of stuff like rock climbing is one of them, skateboarding is another one, snowboarding is probably one of them. People are afraid of being embarrassed because they can't do it, of struggling, of falling down. Everybody does that. And maybe not everybody you see, but they have done that at some point. Like they were beginners too. And so going through those initial phases is the only way you get to the part where people look effortless. And people can do stuff that you can't do when you're there. Like there's tons of climbers that do stuff that I can't do. I hope to be one of them over time. I think at this point, let's see, I started, so December, January, February. I've been climbing basically 3 months. I think. Yeah, basically 3.5 months. I'm terrible at counting. Counting is a terrible challenge for me. I don't think I'm going to improve in that one. I never really try. So I like 6 months. I think these next 3 months are going to be a significant challenge. Like climbing in the grade that I probably really should be challenging myself. I'm really going to have to project and really build some strength, really incorporate and learn some new technique. I rely on strength more than anything. I think it was because I had a good base level of grip strength and pulling strength, and I've leaned into that a bit. And really, I probably should just lean into climbing more and climbing more and climbing more. Repetitions on climbing and practicing technique, good footwork, moving my hips a little bit more, moving them into the wall, trying to twist more, trying to back flag, trying to different techniques that heel hooking, toe hooking, all sorts of shit that I just never do. And I think it's going to be time to start doing that so that way I can progress into the next tiers and the next grades. And it's super challenging. It's super fun, rock climbing. So if you get the opportunity, I would highly suggest you do it. And whatever your interests might be, I think you should lean into them and try them out. And if you're lucky, somebody there might see that you're new and give you some tips. If you're brave, you could probably ask somebody. Say, hey man, that looked wicked, or hey, that looked great. Can you give me a couple tips on how you got there, or how you do that? Or how could you do this? Like, what would you do here? How do you think about your problems? Like, asking questions is a super powerful way to close some of those gaps. And you could live in a world in which you're embarrassed because you don't know, and then you'll just be in a world in which you don't know, or you can just get past that moment and maybe know something and progress a little bit faster. Right? I've written about being a collector of experiences, and that means firsthand, secondhand, any way you can, right? The more experiences you can collect and apply, or collect and learn from, and they don't have to be yours, be secondhand, thirdhand, utilize that. Use it to your advantage. The time we have here is short, so if you want to get good fast, be curious and be humble, be open, be vulnerable. I've been leaning into an idea that there is no strength without vulnerability. I think that being vulnerable puts you open to pain, but it also helps you craft some of the best relationships you might ever have. I've built the best friendships and reinforced friendships that I had in the past couple of years just because of embracing a vulnerability. Did some relationships and some friendships not work out? Absolutely. But I got to start to develop and grow and be comfortable with myself more than worrying about or portraying something or trying to portray this strength and keeping all that stuff to myself, which was a an incredible burden and incredible pressure, and you never feel that anybody can actually see you or care about you. In a planet full of 7 billion plus, I think it's approaching 8 billion, there's for sure people out there that could be your people. But you will never find those people unless you start to cast a beacon, be a lighthouse, be you. Be 100% you. There are people that accept it, and there's people that won't care for it. Just as you don't care for some people, and that's all right. You don't gotta be everybody's cup of tea. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, think about it, apply some of it, get out there and climb if you can. Maybe you won't like it. Get out there and do what you wanna do. Do what you're interested in. Kick some ass. Challenge yourself, grow. It's my recommendation. Have a safe night.